Hello everyone, I'm Meteorologist Charlie Ironmonger. Thank you so much for joining me today for your 1 p.m. news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. Now we've got news out of Goldsboro. We've got two stories actually out of Goldsboro and Wayne County to bring you guys up to speed on. First is that new safety measures are to be implemented into a stretch of road in Goldsboro. Now the North Carolina Department of Transportation has announced it will be reconstructing a half-mile stretch of West Grantham Street. This will improve safety for vehicles and pedestrians. According to the DOT, the project will include the full replacement of the bridge that goes over the CSX Railroad. It was originally built in 1926 and reconstructed again in 1961. The stretch of road improvements will include through lanes in either direction and allow for safer left turns at several intersections. Now, the bridge will be closed for about 18 months, while the road will be reduced to one lane, and then sidewalks will be closed. Now, Blythe Construction Incorporated from Charlotte was contracted to begin in spring and finish by the summer of 2028. Now, in other news, we need to highlight a shooting victim that has passed away due to their injuries. Police say on Tuesday, 28-year-old DeMarquise Swinson died while receiving treatment at ECU Health Medical Center. At around 2:45 p.m. Monday, Goldsboro police were called to a shooting in the 400 block of East New Hope Road. Police say Swinson showed up at the nearby Speedway and was soon airlifted to ECU Health as he was suffering from gunshot wounds. Now, following Swinson's death, officials are now investigating the shooting as a homicide. The investigation remains ongoing, and anyone with information is asked to contact the Wayne County Communications Center at 919-705-6572 and request to speak with a Goldsboro Police Department investigator. And then we also want to share a story in Onslow County about a woman who exposed young children to fentanyl. 50-year-old Earlene Moore was arrested by the Jacksonville Police Department on Tuesday. Court documents show that Moore knowingly allowed 3 children, a 6-month-old, a 10-year-old, and a 7-year-old, to be exposed to fentanyl. WITN has reached out to officials regarding the status of the children. The Hubert woman was charged with 3 counts of exposing a child to a controlled substance and possession of fentanyl. She was taken to the Onslow County Detention Center, where she remains under a $40,000 bond. Her first court date is set for Wednesday. And now we want to bring you up to speed on the nationwide search for Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today Show anchor Savannah Guthrie. NBC's Liz Kreutz has more from Arizona.
Hoping that by now we'd have some more information to share, but as of my last conversation with the sheriff, he says they still don't have any solid lead or suspect. It has now been nearly 72 hours since Nancy Guthrie was taken from her home, and this continues to be a critical race against time. We know she needs that life-saving medication that she takes, and we are learning some new details, though. NBC News is aware of reports of 2 unsubstantiated ransom notes that were sent to 2 news outlets. Law enforcement has not verified the accuracy or the legitimacy of these ransom notes, but they do say they are investigating. The Pima County Sheriff told us that they are sending any of these tips to FBI as well, and we know that the FBI is now involved. President Trump was actually asked about Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. He called it a terrible situation, and when asked, he said he was willing to potentially commit to sending additional federal resources here to help with this search. A big question that we have right now is why law enforcement hasn't been able to obtain or figure out if it even exists footage from the surveillance cameras at Nancy Guthrie's home. The sheriff tells us they're working with some of the tech companies to see if there is any footage from those overnight hours, and if so, if it could be of value to them where they could potentially see any kind of suspect. Here in Tucson, the community is rallying behind the family. Tonight, a local church is hosting and organizing a candlelight service for Nancy to pray for her safe return. And as for Savannah, she understandably is no longer going to be going to the Olympics, where she was scheduled to host the opening ceremonies in Italy this Friday. She's obviously going to stay here in Tucson as the family continues their search. Back to you.
Well, thank you, Liz, for that report. We now turn to your weather forecast, and rain showers right now coming down across the east going to be increasing as we make our way through the next few hours. Anticipate the most widespread rain to occur once we get to around 5 p.m. tonight. Right now, we're starting to see some of those consistent raindrops pushing their way across Sampson, Wayne, Duplin, and portions of Pender County. This again will continue. As you can see, we've got some heavier drops and more intense drops coming down right now over Fayetteville. All of this rain is going to be followed up by some cold air that, when mixing together, will leave us with a wintry mix of precipitation. That's coming up for tonight into tomorrow morning, which is why tonight into tomorrow morning, first alert weather day status. For now, not seeing anything wintry coming down. Not going to even be an opportunity to see those air temperatures drop down below freezing until we get past sunset tonight. In fact, right now, air temperatures generally in the mid-40s throughout most of eastern North Carolina. This is a view through our Goldsboro cam. Note the lack of snow. No snow piled up really anywhere in sight in that picture. We'll turn our attention now to what you need to know to help plan out your next 24 hours. And coming up tomorrow morning, there will be again an opportunity for slick spots on the roads yet again. I know DOT crews have been doing everything they can to get the roads back in working order and nice, smooth, dry road conditions that we're all hoping for. May get pushed back a little bit later into the week, possibly again seeing about 1/10 of an inch of ice accumulate throughout eastern North Carolina. Now, anticipating about a dusting of snow. We have again been keeping a close eye on some of our model runs, and right now again we've showed you guys in the past few updates, we've given you guys a look at the high resolution rapid refresh model, and while usually that is pretty good at projecting moisture and rainfall, it is looking like again the models we have shown you previously may be again a little bit more fraught with some error. So we have now changed it up. We're going to be showing you the graph model and then also the European model to give you guys kind of a look at two models that are in more agreement with what not only we are thinking, but agreement within themselves. Right now, air temperatures generally in the 40s. We do have a 50-degree reading not only in Beaufort, but in Stumpy Point as well. Hatteras close to 50. Right now sitting at about 49 degrees. Compared to where we were yesterday, some areas a little bit cooler, other areas a little bit warmer. Overall, not a big change at this point in the game. Earlier today, we certainly saw quite a separation between yesterday's air temperatures and what we're seeing today, but currently a northeasterly wind is starting to pick up speed. These numbers will get a little bit stronger as we head into the afternoon and evening. For now, looking at more about a 3 to 7 mile per hour breeze throughout most of the east. Now, it's that area of low pressure you're seeing back towards Boone that is really the power of this rain. That is the source of energy for this system, and so long as that low remains close to eastern North Carolina, our opportunities for moisture will stay high. And as that low sinks southward, it puts us in what is considered the cold sector of that frontal system. Out between on the back side of the warm front and the front side of the cold front, where you're seeing most of the rain, that is the warm sector. On the other side of the fronts, that is the cold sector where the cold air resides. So as that low pulls out into the Atlantic, it's going to leave us with just that, cold air flowing into the region. Now, as far as moisture goes, this is a look again at your European model. This is what has been pretty darn accurate over the past few weeks, trying to project these winter systems rolling through. So again, would rather lean a little bit heavier on this model than the others, just based on past accuracy within the last few weeks. By the time we get to around 10 p.m. tonight, note that that rain-snow line is pretty much right along the North Carolina-Virginia line, stretching from about Norfolk down towards Greensboro. From here on out, though, that line will slowly drift further and further southward, slowly, as we head through your Thursday morning. Here's 3 a.m. Again, that rain-snow line now south of Elizabeth City, stretching across, looks like Windsor, Williamston, Bethel, into I would say the Wilson area, maybe just south of Raleigh, but that line continues to progress southward as we approach Thursday morning. So what that does, it essentially gives us a shot of freezing rain as the rain pulls out into the Atlantic. So we're going to see more of a glaze of ice over everything as we wake up Thursday morning than, say, snow across the area. There could certainly be some sleet mixed in those pink zones, but the opportunity for snowflakes isn't looking quite as good, again, with this model run. Let's take you again to what the graph is showing, a very similar picture. Tonight, mostly raindrops. This one going a little bit drier with the overall moisture content, but in terms of the rain-snow line position, showing a very high consistency level with the European model we just showed you guys. So as we head through again your Thursday morning, that freezing rain, sleet, snow line draped across eastern North Carolina, giving areas about 1/10 of an inch of ice accumulation as that rolls through. Now we could again see maybe a few pockets of some snowflakes coming up Thursday morning. I'm not anticipating much. If we see any flakes come down prior to 11, they do have an opportunity of sticking to grassy and elevated surfaces. Once we get past 11 a.m. though, air temperatures again are going to be above freezing. This is 2 p.m. and we're looking at 38 degrees. So from there, anything that falls is not going to be sticking to the ground unless it falls past 9 p.m. when we fall back below 32 degrees. That is key. It may fall as a snowflake, but if ground temperatures are above 32, guess what that snowflake is going to do right when it hits the ground? Melt. Won't be there for long. So here's a look at your full 8-day forecast. Again, tonight is a first alert weather day because of that potential for slick roads early on tomorrow morning, and then obviously a dusting of snow is always newsworthy in eastern North Carolina, despite the fact that we just got done with a record-setting snowfall amount this past weekend. So please, please, please watch for slick spots early in the morning, not only for Thursday, but potentially for Friday morning as well. I think you'll have less risk going out your door Friday morning than what we're going to experience tomorrow morning. But those overnight lows Thursday night into Friday not only get quite a bit lower, but they will stay below freezing for a longer period of time. So anything left on the roads obviously will be freezing as we head through Thursday night into Friday. From there, over the weekend, looking at some pretty sunny conditions. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of next week, all showing up with mostly sunny skies. Air temperatures over Friday, Saturday, and Sunday plan on low to mid 40s. Overnight lows obviously still going to be cold, but through next week, getting back into at least the mid 50s is going to feel pretty nice, especially when it's done with some sunshine on the side. Well, that's all we have time for today's 1 p.m. news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. I want to thank you all so much for joining me. We'll be back with more news and weather coming up at the top of the hour. Until then, have a fantastic rest of your Wednesday.